reporting applies to any private employer that has 100 or more employees anywhere, basically any 100 employees anywhere, as long as one employee is in California, and are required to submit this pay data report. So we've got the definition here of the employee. And so it only pertains to employees, and same with the contract work. It's only for the employees that you're contracting. You're not reporting this data for independent contractors, but as everybody in California should know or does know, independent contractor classification is kind of tricky here in California. But if you do have somebody properly classified as an independent contractor, that information is not going to be reported on these reports to the state. Now, in determining who must report, looking at the 100 or more employees, you need to look at whether they have the employer has regularly employed 100 or more employees for the entire reporting year. So you're looking at 2023 right now. This definition gets a little circular that the CRD provided in the FAQs. It says that the regularly employed 100 or more employees during the reporting year means employed 100 or more individuals on a regular basis during the reporting year. It's a little circular there. And then regular basis refers to the nature of a business that is recurring rather than constant. And that's a little confusing as well. So they do provide an example, and I wanted to read this example to everybody. So basically in the FAQs that they, it's in section 3C, which employers are required to file payroll employee reports. The example here for this regular basis they use is in an industry that typically has a 3-month season during a calendar year. The employer that employed 100 or more employees during that season regularly employed the requisite number of employees and be required to file a pay data report with the CRD. So I hope that helps clarify it a bit. Now, who must report? Now, we're just looking at this threshold. And again, don't get it confused with the other aspects of the report, which employees we have to report on everything. But just in making the determination of which companies have to file a report, we're looking at the total number of employees located inside and outside of California and counting all of them and making this determination if we have 100 or more employees. And an employer with no employees in California during the reporting year is not required to file a report. Part-time employees, including those who work partial days and fewer than each day of the work week, are counted the same as full-time employees. So we're not doing a full-time equivalent calculation. It's just total employees, even if they are part-time. And then we're also looking at employees paid for unpaid leave, including anybody on leave under the California Family Rights Act, pregnancy leave, suspension, or any other employer approved absence must be counted in the 100 for this 100 employee threshold. So we've got an example here, an employer that had 50 employees inside California and 50 employees outside of California during the reporting year would be required to submit a payroll employee report. Now, the reporting year, the pay data report covers the prior calendar year as I referenced earlier. So that's referred to as the reporting year. So for example, a payroll employee report due in 2023 is for the calendar year of 2023 for those employees that worked during the snapshot period. And so in determining the snapshot period, the employer looks at and is able to choose any pay period between October 1st and December 31st of the reporting year. So going back to 2023, look at that time period from October 1st to December 31st and choose any pay period during that time to come up with the snapshot period. Now, the snapshot period is used to identify the employees that we're going to be reporting on for the pay data report. Now, the employee does not have to be paid during the snapshot period. It only matters whether an employee was employed during the snapshot period that we're going to be submitting that information for them. An example here is an employer has the same 200 payroll employees for all of October 2023. 100 of the employees are paid bi-weekly, and 100 of the employees are paid at the end of the month. Assume further that the employer picks October 1st to October 15th as the snapshot period. So in this example, the employer would have to report on all 200 employees because they were all employed by the employer during the snapshot period, even though 100 of them did not receive pay in the snapshot period selected. So also, employers must include all employees assigned to California establishments and or working within California. So unlike in the past, employers should not report employees who are working outside of California and are assigned to establishment outside of California. So this includes remote workers outside of California assigned to establishment in California. And the example we have here, taken from the FAQ, is if an employer has a single establishment in Riverside, California, with 500 employees working from that location, the employer would submit a report covering all of the 500 employees. If 25 of those employees were working remotely in California or outside of California, the employer's report would still have to cover all of the 500 employees. It's because of those 25 employees that are working remotely, even if they're outside of the state, they're reporting to this California establishment, and they need to be reported included in the report for the pay data report. Now, the second report that's required is this labor contractor employee reports. Now, it's required, employers are required to file this if 100 or more workers hired through a labor contractor in the prior calendar year anywhere with at least one worker based in California, then you have to file this labor contractor report as well. We've got some of the regulations here set out what this means. We get into this regular basis. Again, this definition that I mentioned before, similar to the employee report. So a labor contractor, though, is defined as an individual or entity that supplies either with or without a contract, a client employer with workers to perform labor within the client employer's usual course of business. We've got a few examples of what this means too, the usual course of business. But again, these are workers hired as employees, not legitimate independent contractors. So it's workers hired through a contractor as employees. We've got an example here about the labor contractor. For example, the part-time labor contractor employees, including those who work partial days and fewer than each day, just like the employees that I spoke about previously, are counted the same as full-time labor contractor employees for that 100 labor contractor threshold.